boys and girls, once again, let me say Moloeni, Injani, Fiamora, Handit Fandak. I know you're doing good as I'm doing good. This morning I'm going to talk about bivariate data, which is also known as the scatter plot. The scatter plot, which is part of your grade 12 statistics, and you are going to answer questions on it, and that happens to be in paper 2, question number 1, so take note of it. Scatter plot. So we are going to take few minutes through, and you must just watch and observe the lessons and go through it. So now when we say bivariate data simply talks about data that consists of two variables, and out of the two variables, one is independent variable. So bivariate, when we talk about bivariate data, we talk about data that has two variables. One of them is independent variable, and the other one is dependent variable. So this is what we call bivariate data, and in other ways we call it the scatter plot. So I'm just going to go with you on how the examiners are going to ask you questions. So the expectation is what is going to lead us into today's lesson. Now, when we talk about independent variable, of course, when you are independent, it means you don't depend on anyone. You are alone and you can do your own things. But dependent variable means that one relies on the outcome of the other to make progress. So like you as learners, you are dependent on your parents. So your parents are independent. So you got to know what is independent and what is what? Dependent. Normally when we give you the data, we put it in a table form. So in the table you get X and Y on the table. The X values are always referred to as independent variable. So when you get the X values, it's always referred to independent variable. And the Y values are called dependent variables. So you can see, for us to get Y, we always have to substitute X in order to get Y. So Y is dependent on X for its outcome. So now here, we will be focusing on the actual questions that the examiners are going to ask you. One of the questions is that they will give you the table and they will ask you to draw the scatter plot or sketch the scatter plot. So the table they are going to give you is what you are going to use to draw the scatter plot. For instance, let's go to this table. Now example, they have given this table X and Y. X values starts with 2, 5, 6, 9, and the Y is 7, 10, 12, and 13. So with this table, you are going to plot it on a graph paper. So the question that they give you in your answer booklet, they will attach a graph paper and ask you to draw plot these points on the scatter plot. So on the scatter plot, you have a Cartesian plane. Of course, here is X, and the other side here is Y. So now you can now put in this point, starting from 0 here. Let's say the maximum number for X is 9. So let me go this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I got 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is what we have for x values, and the y values we will have up to 13. So let me use intervals like say 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and say here is 14. Okay, so we are plotting this on on this diagram, which is the Cartesian plane. So now you are going to plot it as coordinates. So when you take x value at 2, the corresponding y value is 7. So you will be having a coordinate of 2 is to 7 to plot. So x is 2, y is 7. So 7 and 2 will be somewhere here. You can look at what you do, whether you are using a straight edge. This point meets here. Then once it meets here, you clean off what you have done. So it's always advisable to use pencil when you are dealing with graphs, so that when you are done, you can erase off those that are not needed. Now we are going to look at the next points to plot. Is 5 is to 10. 5 is to 10. So we go and look for 5 on the x-axis, and then you look for 10 on the y-axis. So it goes this way. 10 is on the y-axis, this point. Wherever it meets with x, you put a point, which is 5, this point. So here is our point. I clean off again. I've seen 10 is to 5 is to 10. Now the next point is 6 is to 12. 6 for x and 12 for y. So it goes somewhere there. This is the point, 6 is to 12. And the next point is 9 is to 13. 9 for x and 13 for y. So when we come here, 9 is here and 13 is in between 12 and 14. So this is the point that we have. So how many data set, points were given for x? 1, 2, 3, 4. And how many points have you sketched? Have you drawn? 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have plotted 4 points in the diagram, which is what was given to you, and you are done. This is what we call the scatter plot. You are done with the scatter plot. Now, after plotting on the diagram what values were given to you, the examiner can continue to ask you questions such as this. They can continue to ask you questions such as this to calculate what we call equation of the least square regression, the regression line. Now the next thing to talk about is the regression line. I hope you have understood what is here. So we are going to look at the regression line. Now our regression line is giving us, the equation for the regression line is giving us, I hope you can see what I've written here, a plus bs. This is simply, a regression line is a straight line. So we are simply using the equation of a straight line in other form. So in this case, we use this formula, and which is also given to you on your formula page. So you must learn how to use this formula. It is there on the formula or the information page. It is read as predicted y or estimated y is equals to a plus bs. This y is not just an ordinary y that we know. We call it the predicted y or the estimated y. And estimated y is equals to a plus bx. That is what it means. So you can see your gradient is the b, and your a is the y-intercept, if it was the equation of a straight line. So now, they will ask you to find this equation. and that is the next step where we are going. The question will ask you to determine the equation of the least square line, or the equation of the line of the best fit. This regression line is what we call the line of best fit. The line of best fit. That is the name that you can also call it. The regression line is also known as the line of best fit, which is also known as the least square line. So the question can ask you, calculate the equation of the line of best fit, or in other words, they can say, calculate the least square regression line. It means the same, guys. So we use this equation to make predictions. You know, statistics is about getting information, processing the information, and using it to make predictions for future. So that is what is given. Now, if you have this equation and they give you the x value and they want you to find the predicted y value, you just substitute the x value into the equation and then you get the predicted or the estimated y value. So that is how we find this equation. Now let's go straight into how do we use our calculator to find this equation. Okay, so I've in a simple way made it for you here. We are saying that when you are finding the equation of the line of best fit, which is the predicted y equals to a plus bs, you simply go and use your casual calculator. Those who are using casual calculator, you use your casual calculator to find the equation of the line of best fit. This is what you do. You first press on the calculator mode here. After you press mode, you will see a lot of things on the calculator. You choose option number 2, which is stats. Now when you choose stats on the calculator, then it will open a lot of things for you. What you have to choose is another option number 2 again, which is talking about the formula, which is a plus bx, and it is there right in front of you in the formula page. So you go to mode, option number 2, another option number 2, and then you choose this. Then it will open this table for you. Once it opens the table for you, here we've got x and y in the table. Remember, the table is given to you as x and y. So you are going to capture the data in x and also capture the data in y. That is all you do. So how do we capture data? We are just from grade 11, where I taught you how to capture data on a calculator and store. So now we'll go through the same process. We are capturing the data for x. So you press 2. When you press 2, then you press the equal sign. Then it will come here, where it is shaded here. So when you press 5, you press equal sign. You press 6, you press the equal sign. Then you press the 9 and then also the equal sign. When you are done, you just have to scroll again with the arrow and then go up to the first line in the y column, and then you start capturing y values as well. So your y values, you just say 7, then you press equals to, 10 equals to, and then you press 12, and then you say equals to, and then you press 13, then you press equals to. After you have captured the two data for the x and the y, you just store it by using the AC, which I refer to as the air condition. So you press this button, AC, on the calculator. And then when you press it, everything will get out of the calculator, meaning that the calculator has stored your information in its memory. Now, how do we then go and look for our A and the B? That is the most important, and then we can write the equation. In exams, you don't waste time, it's 3 marks. So you look for your A, then you look for your B. Now let's go to look for our A. So how to find our A? So when you are looking for this A here, you go to Shift on the calculator. All your answers are found on Shift, and then option number 1, Start. the start that is written on number 1. So you press shift 1 on the calculator, and then you go to, you are doing what we call the regression analysis. So that's why you say the least square regression line. So you are going to choose option number 7, which talks about the regression REG. Take note of that when you're looking for the answer. Now, when you press REG, then a lot of information will come on the calculator. You have A, you have B, you have R, and other stuff. So now what you will have to do is you are looking for A, because in the formula is predicted Y equals to A plus BS. So what you have to do, you are looking for A, you choose option number 1, you press 1, then you press equals to, and the answer that comes will be A is equals to, you will be having A is equals to 5,66. That is the value for A. And then you keep it. You go back again and you press shift 1 again. We are looking for B. So you go back again, you press shift 1 again, and then it will come to you choosing the regression, which is option number 7. So when you choose option number 7, then we are looking for B. B is on number 2. So you press 2 and you press equal sign, and your value for B will come. B is equal to 0,88. So this is what you get. Then after that, you are going to write the equation like this. So the formula, you will first write down your formula. The formula is predicted Y is equal to A plus BS. So now I know A is 5,66, and then plus our BS. So our B is 0,88, and then you attach your X. You write your predicted Y value there. That is how you get the equation of the least square regression line. So boys and girls, this is how you go through in order to get the equation of the regression line, which is also known as the line of the best fit. So just find your A and find your B, going through the process that I've showed you on the calculator. Those of you who are using Sharp, we'll look into it the next time, but I prefer you all get Casio calculator, since it's the most simplified calculator that you can use for your exams. So take note of that. And then that is how we are. So now the next question the examiner can ask you is to draw the regression line. Draw the regression line. If you are going to draw the regression line, then our advice that you are going to find, if you are going to draw the regression line, this is the simple method that you can do. They can ask you to draw the equation of the least square regression line. Here, go back to the table and find the mean of the X, and also find the mean of the Y. Mean is simply means add all the X values and divide by the total entry in the data. So if I'm going to find X bar is equal to sum of X over N. You can use the formula like this. Sum of X over N. X are the X values. Add it and divide it by the total number of entry. So it's going to be 2 plus 5, 2 plus 5 plus 6 plus 9 divided by 4. Their N is, number of entry is 4. 7, 13, 13 plus 9 is 22. So 22 divided by 4, you press it on your calculator. 4, 5, 20. So it's going to be 5 comma something. Can I have a calculator? 22 divided by 4. So we got 22 divided by 4. 22 divided by 4. The answer is 5,5. So we got 5, 5 for the x value, which is almost equivalent to 6. So let's say approximation is 6 again. And then you can go and find the mean for y value. Y bar is also equals to sum of y over n. So you can use that. You add all the y values, which is 7 plus 10, 17. So you got 17 plus 12 plus 13 which gives you 42. Then you divide it by, you have to divide 42 by 4 also, and the answer is 10,5. So here our answer is also 10,5, and 10,5 will give us something around 11. It's approximate 11. So now in this case, when you are going to draw the line of the best fit, your point that you are going to plot there will be the new point which you have gotten from the mean values of x and y. So what you get here, our mean value for x was 6. Approximation, it was 5,5, but then you run it to the nearest whole number, which is 6. And then 10,5 to the nearest whole number is 11. So this is the point that I'm going to use to draw. So you go back to the scatter plot. We had 4 points that has been plotted already. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to insert this on the scatter plot. So it's 6 against 11. So it's 6. I have got 10 here. 11 is in between 10 and 12. So 6 to 11 is somewhere here. Here, I'm coming to put here. You can see this point that I put in here is circled. It's 6 is to 11. Yeah. So that becomes my scatter plot. So after knowing this, I clean it off. So there was 9 to 13 there. So now I have got how many points? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I have inserted the mean values, which is x bar and y bar. You find the mean for x and the mean for y, and you come and insert it here. So now, after putting the mean values into the data, now you can draw a straight line by looking at the direction of the points, how they have been scattered. They are moving from down here to the right upwards. So now you can see the straight line is a positive line. By also looking at the gradient, you know that the gradient was positive, and therefore the slope is going to be a positive slope. So that is how you draw. So you draw through this point that you have inserted just now. So you draw, and that is how you are going to get it. So now you draw from that point. Make sure your line of best fit passes through the new point from the mean points, and that is how we want it. You don't need to connect, boys and girls. Make sure you don't have to worry yourself by trying to connect all the points. No, it is not that. But what is important is that you must make sure your line passes through the new point that you have inserted by using the mean of the x and the mean of the y and put it there. So now when we are marking, we will count how many did I give you. I gave you 4 points, and then how many points are there on the graph? 5. Meaning that you found the mean for the x values, and also you found the mean for the y values, and then you draw the line through the mean. And also you must observe the equation of the line of best fit. The gradient value is positive. It tells you if a line is positive gradient, it goes this way. A negative gradient comes this way. You can also identify by looking at the scatter plot how it is moving. So you draw your line of best fit. And that brings us to the end of our lesson. But from here, another thing we are going to focus on, we will continue after a short break. So take note of that. Thank you and stay tuned.